get to Austin before it just sinks in on
Explodes.
itself.
He was very fast.
Oh no!
I need to show you a video of me doing stand-up badly because you showed one last time. And 3,
I tried to, but I was just so talented.
I know, yeah, you tried to.
Just like intangible red flag territory. Like he's not
Yes.
saying anything
Oh,
specific,
interesting.
But like
Yeah.
just as he's talking, you're like, do not be in a room alone with this man.
Yeah, 100%.
You know,
So-
we can all love each other. No.
All right, great. Okay, great.
No.
This is great. What about him is an intangible red flag? Is it a way he appears, way he talks, hand gestures?
Do you know what the word intangible means?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go have a piss.
Ashley, you're in charge.
I'm in charge. Bitches.
I went down on a juicy poozy, and
Uh-oh, got a fart and this chair's gonna make it reverberate. Hey, wait.
John.
Hey,
oh no! Everybody else, hey,
hey.
What's going on? I'm just waiting for music. I thought you were getting music. Oh, I thought you were just getting
how
music.
my penis gets born.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Here's a shed.
The ice cream cones came with a little metal packet that is just full of sugar. It's just full of sugar to be poured into the cones.
I got what has the Japanese not gotten a hold of, perfected, and then when everyone was like, "You did it," they went, "And now we'll begin." And you're like, "No, you fixed it. It was fixed. Do not break it." They're like, no, we got to break this.
I still have some more questions.
Go ahead.
John Hastings is on America's Got Talent for 5 minutes, and now he's got houses in LA and London.
That's right.
Yeah.
You kept a house in London?
Yeah, I've kept a house in London.
Update: not sugar.
There's no fluid tasting enough to warrant sucking it out of him. Yeah. No, but it was did he do it when he was then in the band when they were the 4 Bee Gees that brief time before then his heart exploded?
Wow.
I'm not saying anything that didn't happen. That is what happened to him.
I'm a predator.
And it was going awesome. And we even started having drinks at a bar, and we each had girlfriends with us, whatever. We're having a great time until I got comfortable enough to go, hey, we share a birthday,
As someone who's been eternally single.
Go ahead. Is it your fault? Yes. No. Sorry.
Stop tweeting after your dates, Ashley. Stop tweeting after your dates.
Oh, bad news, Paul. You're getting a Batman bet.
This is not bad news. I am so pleased.
Support them.
But you know what's more important than helping people's mental health?
Fuck you, John.
I'm just saying. Tom, you're a comedy fan.
Here's what happened. So I came up after she finished a couple times.
How did you
I'm not
spell
one's not enough.
What
You go for 2. That's how you start it out.
Smoother crunches.
And then Jesus, boom. And so so when I emerged, I went to kiss her and she just grabbed my face and she sucked it all out of my beard.
So hurtful.
That's a literary reference. Oh no, I gotta.
Hey, he can't tie me out now. I'm the only one here. Books, pages. Right. Verb, noun, adjective. Nice.
The Canadians are coming.
Chris, John, and Irish Ashley combine to make the ultimate team, better than any wet dream. Welcome to the Untitled Twitch stream. John's the CEO and boomer. Ashley's the real leader. Chris brings the vibes and juices as our enjoyment increases. Welcome to the Untitled Twitch stream.
Well, hello and welcome to the Untitled Twitch stream, the UTS podcast. I'm Ashley. I am usually joined by my 2 co-hosts, John and Chris. But today, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlefolk, I am joined by the wonderful, very super talented, amazing friend of the show. It's David Hoare.
Yay! USA. I mean, UTS. UTS. UTS.
Big to make.
Hi, friend. How are you?
I'm not too bad, David. How are you?
Good. I'm doing all right. I have basically sobered up since I missed you this morning.
Cool. I have semi-sobered up.
But we can sort that back. Okay.
Oh, look at you. Oh, you're ready to go. I decided I shouldn't have any more to drink. Well, see, I have had serious writer's block for a while. And when you said you were after having a couple of drinks, I was like, you know what? That could be a fun show this evening. And between now and then, maybe, just maybe, I could try and write something.
Yes.
But maybe some alcohol will loosen up the old mental abilities.
Get the little gerbil in your brains, like wheels spinning again.
Get the gerbil in my brain drunk, you know. So that's what I did, and I had 3 to 4. I say 3 to 4 because they were home pours, you know. I didn't measure
3 to
anything.
4.
I had 3
Possibly
drinks that
7.
were home
We don't
poured.
Ashley had so much whiskey she forgot how to count, so that's good. UTS.
UTS. David, my love.
Yes. Hi, mate. Did you get anything written?
Well, I didn't not get anything written.
Perfect. That's great.
Do you
That's
know what I tried to do?
What did you do?
Basically I tried to pretend that I was actually in a room about to do a fringe show for the first
Oh
time.
wow. Okay, yeah.
So I basically was just like, right, just start talking as if there's a
Endgame it.
room full of people here that have bought tickets to see you. Because that's essentially where I'm trying to get to now is I want to do my first show next year.
Right for the show you want, not the show you have. Is this what we're doing?
Exactly. Yes, that's exactly it. So I think, you know, I actually think I have the intro.
Great. The other thing is that you wrote, which meant that any kind of writer's block you have has been defeated a little bit.
Yeah, like I've had really bad writer's block throughout the entire pandemic, and in the past couple of weeks, I did like a new line or a new kind of a bit of an idea on stage in the past couple of weeks, and it wasn't good, but it wasn't terrible. And I said a new concept. Like the only thing I've actually really written in the past couple of years was like extra taglines onto existing bits, which is, you know, you're always kind of adding something onto a joke. But this was a whole new idea. And like I say, it's not a strong one, but it was a new thing that I said on a stage, and it didn't die on its hole. So
great.
It was really... I've already done it. I did it at a couple of gigs, but you know, it's still not great, and it still needs to be. I need to do something with it.
Yeah, fine. That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing I find with writer's block is you basically need to like prove yourself right that you're the shittest person that ever wrote anything ever, and write the worst thing you ever can. And then once you've done that, you're like, well, I wrote something, and then the next thing is it's got to be slightly better than that. And once you've like eliminated like that sort of need to be perfect and like get it to the thing, this is what I find basically is it's just you're like, oh okay, this could actually be tangible now as a it might not be the best thing ever, but I wrote something, and then you've got you're in the kind of zone of writing. I don't like the phrase "in the zone." It sounds so fucking corny. Oh, it's in the zone.
In the zone.
But you know, like
phrase "in the zone" a lot though. Like if I'm going to go to
which
a
is
gig,
why
like,
I
need
hate
to
it.
get in the zone. The performance zone, you know, it's because it's the only way to.
I think that's why I don't like it. It's because whenever I'm just chatting to somebody before a gig, having a nice time.
Yeah, they're just like, sorry, I have to get in the zone.
They'll either say I have to get in the zone, or they'll go, I'll let you get in the zone, and I'm like, huh?
Do I not seem like I'm already in the zone? Am I not killing the social interaction?
That's it. It's basically their excuse to get out of talking to me, and I'm like, I'll let you get in the zone. I'm like, I don't want to get in the zone. I want to talk to you.
Yeah.
Also,
So-
I don't get into the zone when I start. I just pace up and down. Sorry, what were we going to say? So,
Oh yeah, I was just gonna ask. So when you're
hi everyone. By the way, it's just
Oh
me
yeah,
actually
hi
chatting.
to all the listeners, and you know
Hi-
what?
hello,
for the
podcast
shits and the
listeners.
giggles. Hi to the podcast listeners.
Love the podcast listeners.
Gotta love the podcast
Hi
listeners.
everybody. It's lovely to see
Hi.
you all.
It is
You're
so lovely to
wonderful.
see you all. We don't like we I think we respond less and less to the chat these days, but we don't not see it. I love seeing what the chat is writing, and
I'm
it
enjoying what the chat is saying immensely. I should probably respond to. My friend George today was like, this week he'd been like, oh, do you want to meet up and go for a pint? To my girlfriend and I, and we were like, sure. But George is
Uh-huh.
one of these people that, like, you know how there are people who like set a time and they're interminably late for everything. George is
yes.
like the opposite of that, where he was like, what about 3 or 4? And then at midday today, as I was still in bed, was like, shall I come to yours? And was like, what? And it's like, can you give us an hour to get ready?
Sure.
And then so we went for a pint at like, we sat and played a board game outside for like an hour, and then we went to the pub at like 2. And then it was like, do you want another one? And I was like, I guess so. So I'd had like 3 pints by like 5 p.m. And Ashley was like, you still good for today? And I was like, yes, but I've also had 3 Guinnesses. And then I
Way.
danced around the co-op and then didn't drink it from then and just played with Lego all afternoon with my friend. And then now I'm here, which is why I was saying about boozy, but I'm also not like as giddy as I was earlier. Just to clarify.
Yeah, I think
I'll
we're
respond to the
kind
chat
of
if it actually wasn't.
we're kind of mellowed.
Yeah.
It's not like a hyper drunk stream. It's like a nice mellow
Welcome to the
flow.
Sunday Mellow Zone. Yes.
Yes. This is like dad drunk.
My dad never, I don't think I ever saw my dad drunk ever.
Really?
Which wasn't the sort of guy that did that. And so, but I obviously have seen all my friends' dads drunk. And so I
Sure.
understand the idea of dad
The
drunk.
concept of dad drunk.
And I also laugh when anybody says it, because that means that their dad was that sort of person that would get drunk around their kids, and not in a
Sure.
depressing way of thing. David,
Yeah.
going to say some spicy things? Maybe. Cumin, paprika. Sorry. Spicy things.
My dad was
Um,
I maintain that my dad is the best drunk I know.
Great.
He
Well, yeah,
just enjoys
Karen.
it so immensely.
Yeah.
Just loves it.
My best mate growing up, his dad, I'd never had my friend's favorite mum, but my friend's dad was the best friend's dad I had, because
Sure.
he would just say insane things, and then he also just really liked ale, and he would just get drunk and just say the weirdest shit and just be like, I've got to tell you everything about jazz music now, and like, talk about jazz and climbing for like hours.
Oh, that's great.
It's
My
good.
dad
So
will
good.
just like he will just drink. He will drink himself to sleep. Like he just chills the fuck out so much.
Does your dad have like a big comfy chair? I'm imagining your dad has a big comfy chair.
He has a big comfy corner of the couch.
Nice.
And he will just sink further and further into it and watch Star Trek. And that's just his life.
What Star Trek does your dad watch?
He has tried to work his way through all of them.
Does that mean you know about Star Trek?
I don't at all. I've never watched
Even just
it with
by
him.
osmosis? Oh, okay.
I've never watched it with him.
You would probably like Lower Decks, which is the
Okay.
latest. It's animated, and it's basically them ripping the shit. It's Star Trek within themselves. It's made by the Star Trek company, taking the piss out of themselves. It's really
Okay.
fun.
That's quite
but
fun.
Got that kind of like chaotic. I want to say Rick and Morty without the negative side of Rick and Morty. Do you know what I mean? It's
Sure.
not
I'm
like-
not a Rick and Morty fan, like, at
No, no,
all.
no. But like, do you know, like fun and not serious. Like, obviously, Star Trek is
Sure.
very serious.
Yeah.
And this is not serious at all, and very kind of sarcastic, and they can kind of do whatever the fuck they want, sort of thing. that
Yeah.
aspect of Rick and Morty rather than incels.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, there was definitely aspects of Rick and Morty that I was like, I can almost get on board with this.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
I mean, I say that my dad has a comfy corner of the couch, but he does not anymore. This week, my folks
Is this about to get
packed
sad?
themselves up.
Oh.
No, it's not about to get sad. It's very exciting, actually. It's the opposite of sad. My folks packed themselves up this week and now live in a van in France. They sold the house and they just took all the belongings that would fit into this van, and they have just driven. They got a ferry into England and then into France, and now they just live between. They have a van and a car and a trailer. They
What's
have
happened to
3
the pets?
dogs. The 3 dogs are with them.
Pets in the van.
Pets in the van.
Pets in the van.
Well, they're
Pets in
not.
the
They're
van.
not actually sleeping in the van. They've got a huge tent that they're pitching up everywhere they go, and
Oh.
I mean, they're really living their dream.
Am I allowed to? I can't click on Kim's B things. You're living the millennium dream. What you've just described is what half of Bristol does all the time.
Oh,
Is
really?
you've got a friend and you're like, they're kind of like, oh, we're thinking about moving, and you're like, where? And they're like, oh, you know, our van. And you're like, oh, what, the thing you helped me go but like buy a IKEA bookshelf with? Yeah, we're gonna live in that. And that is sizable portion of people I know
That's
in
gas.
Bristol. So your parents are basically Bristolian hipsters at this point.
I'll have to let them know. They're
Do
basically
they wear
they're gonna
comfy
travel
trousers
down.
with elephants on them and eat falafel? Is that what they do?
No, what they
Listen to
have
dub
is
reggae.
they have what are they called? The
Ponchos?
the fleecy huge jacket poncho things.
Yeah.
But they're like
Gilet?
they're fleecy, but they're also raincoat on the outside and they're super warm. A lot of people put them on like after surfing. What are they called?
Oh yes, they're like a poncho sort of
They're
thing, but they're not.
They're
called-
not really a poncho. They're just a huge big coat thing.
But
So they have
Jesus,
them and they're
boom.
super warm.
John Hastings will join them in a throuple.
Oh, God. Dry robes, thank you. They're dry robes. They have big dry robes.
Gotta be careful how you say that.
They're just traveling down through Europe, and they're gonna hopefully buy somewhere down the south of Spain or Mallorca.
I'm so happy for them. And
Yeah, they're really doing something cool. Like a lot of people think I'm a bit mad. You know, I've kind of moved around a lot and I've tried a lot of different things, but I don't lick it up off the floor. My parents are mad too.
I have never heard that phrase before, but that is immaculate.
Is that another one of those things that I don't realize is an Irish thing?
Probably.
When
What
you
now?
say, if you say somebody
poll?
licks it
Make
up
a
off
poll.
the floor,
Yeah.
or if you say somebody doesn't lick it up off the floor, it means they've learned it from their folks usually.
Can we get an admin or someone to do a poll? Have you heard this phrase before? Because I desperately need to know. It's amazing. Perfect. I knew exactly what you meant. I knew exactly what you said as you said it. It wasn't like one of those things where I'm like, what the fuck are you trying to say? I was like, that makes perfect sense, but I just never heard it before.
Okay, so Tiger has never heard of it before, and Tiger's usually heard of the things that I say.
Is Tiger
So this
from
is not a
Ireland?
good sign. From the north of Ireland, I believe. Tiger.
Might be modern Irish because I've never heard of it. Yes, meatballs. Are you old? Are you from the 15th
Licks it up off the
century?
floor sounds like a sex joke. I've never heard of it. Okay, nobody's heard of it, so this is none of our
It
live
could also
listeners have.
be a thing that your parents said.
It could literally just be something my mother says. My mother
Yeah.
has her own language. My mother is very, very dyslexic, and so like she honestly she makes things up all the time, and it's like texting her is like translating hieroglyphics.
That's
It's
awesome.
I have to. It's a whole other language that I've had to learn and learn how to translate.
That's
You're in
great.
Donne-
My
yeah,
dad.
tigers in Donegal. It's a very Irish thing to do
Okay.
something totally weird and mental, then claim it's normal in your county.
That's awesome. Yeah, my dad, when he wanted somebody to move and we're in the car or to hurry us up, would say "Shifty bumski," and we'd never. Me and my sister just said "Shifty bumski" as in like get a move on for a long
That's
time.
not a thing.
And my sister, who was a teacher, would say it to the kids in the class, and they would be like,
No.
"What? What is this?" And then it's one of those things where me and my sister suddenly had to be like, "Oh, this is just something my dad said."
That's so
'Cause
funny.
he's weird.
Yeah.
So that's
It's
nice.
funny how you can pick things up that way and they're so normal to you, but
Oh,
you but nobody else does it.
after meals, my girlfriend will be like, "I think I'm gonna have a salad," and I'm like after the meal, and I was like, "What? We've already eaten," and like she's like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna have a salad," and I'm like, "Why now?" She's like, "That's just what you do, right? You have a salad after a meal," and I was like, "No, I've never. This is not
No,
a normal
nobody
thing."
does that.
And then I was always just weird or critical of it. Not critical, but I was always like, "What? I don't understand why you're doing this now." And not a side salad because it's not at
No,
the same time.
this is like a dessert salad.
This is like a dessert salad. This is a post-main meal salad. And then I was at her grandmother's house with like all of her family, and her entire family just started having a post-meal salad. And I was like, "It's you fuckers that are doing this." And then she was like, "It must be a European thing." And I'm like, "I don't think it is." Because I think I would have heard of a post-meal
I've
salad.
never heard of a post-meal salad.
You know, the post-dinner.
Oh, there's some weird habits out there, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so funny.
My dad says I'm breathing out of my ass when he's done exercising. That's a good phrase. Hi, Shona.
Breathing out my arse. Yeah. It makes no
That's so
sense, but
good.
I understand what it means.
Yeah, that's the best kind of phrase is when you
Yeah.
like, because when it's unintelligible, you're like, "I've no idea what you want about," then that's whatever. But when it's a phrase you're saying to express how you're feeling, and the other person, yeah, I didn't lick it up off of the floor, is so great. So does this mean basically like when you're visiting your parents is about
gonna
to
be down
morph
to
into basically
Spain.
a holiday,
Yeah.
essentially, every time you go?
Yeah, I'm very excited about it. My brother lives down there too, you see. So like my
Oh.
whole family is just down in Spain now. None of us
Just
are in
trying to get as
Ireland.
far away from you as possible.
I met somebody yesterday and he was saying that some of his family is Irish and he was talking to somebody Irish recently and they had said, "Yeah, Ireland's a great place to be born and it's a great place to leave."
Yeah, sure.
It's a brilliant place to leave.
Amazing.
Yeah, so many people leave Ireland. There's more Irish people living outside of Ireland than there are in Ireland.
I if you encounter an Irish person in the UK, you're never like, "Well, why are you here?" You're just like, "Oh, look, an Irish person." Like that's
Yeah.
never. You're never like, "Oh, what brings you here?" You're just like, "Oh, you must work here or something or do whatever."
Yeah.
That is weird.
Yeah.
That's
But
awesome.
that's the case all over the place.
Sure.
There's Irish people across the globe.
Staying as far away from the
We're
place.
secretly taking over.
Are all the new like dystopian science fiction novels? You know how like Blade Runner is all like,
Oh my god, we need
Asian
just
and
a
Chinese.
whole.
It's just
There
going
just
to
needs
be,
to be a whole series
It's
of
going to be
books.
Guinnesses in Michael Flatley.
There just needs to be a whole series of sci-fi, a whole genre of sci-fi that is just Irish people taking over the world.
Love it.
Start
That would
writing
be
it,
so
people,
good.
because it is the next big thing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been zombie apocalypse.
Let's be the first
there's
one.
a whole genre
Let's
of
lick it
that.
up off the floor. Is
We'll
that did I
lick
use
it
that
up off the
correctly?
floor.
If you are the
Yes.
first person to do it, I licked it up off the floor.
You lick it up off the floor. I mean, I guess so, but it's just not typically how it's used. I don't think I've ever heard somebody say they've licked it up off the floor. It's always you're negating that concept.
Yeah,
You're
sounds like
always
something
saying,
Chris
I
Betts
didn't
got
lick
up
it up
to.
off the floor. Yeah. I mean, what hasn't Chris Betts gotten up to, you know? Chris Betts, by the way, Chris Betts and John Hastings. John is on his holidays in Hawaii, and Chris Betts is he's licking some floors. I'm just
Let's
gonna
hope it's not the
wildly
same floor that Chaz Redhead hangs out in.
yeah.
Oh, I need to message this. Wonderful. Have you done anything else exciting with your weekend?
Not especially. I am currently more broke than I have ever been. I have never let my finances run this low, and it's frightening. It's a lot of fun.
I feel yeah.
Yeah, the fringe really took a lot out of me.
Pockets and buttholes getting tight in this area as well.
Yes. Yeah. But I'm handling it better than I think I usually do.
Great.
I've been unemployed a lot in the past few years, just with the nature of the work that I've been trying to do.
Sure.
And it's fine. It is
I'm
okay.
fine.
I'm completely functioning. Yeah, I'm just like, you know what? It's fine. I will get something and I will be okay.
Yeah. That's great.
It's not the end of the world. Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? When the older you get, the more you're like, oh, this has all gone to shit. All right, let's start getting out stuff, like, rather than like, I think when you're younger and stuff starts to go wrong, you're like, oh, this is the end of the world and my life. And then you get out of it and you're like, oh, and then it goes wrong again. And you're like, oh, not this again. And then, the 7th or 8th time.
Eventually you're just like, oh, whatever.
Everyone in the chat is like, we don't fuck our lives up as much as you do. And we're like,
yeah, yeah, it's gas. I have some gigs this week and they are costing me money.
Yeah.
But I'm also looking forward to them. Like I actually do have some new material that's better than the stuff I tried in the past couple of weeks. So I'm really looking forward to doing a bit of new material. And yeah, it'll be fun. It's nice that
Where are your gigs?
I have like 6 gigs this week.
Remote.
Tomorrow night I'm doing the Stand Red Raw in Edinburgh.
Ooh.
Tuesday night I'm doing Red Raw at the Stand in Glasgow. Friday night I'm doing the 7 o'clock show at Monkey Barrel. Saturday night I'm doing the 7 o'clock show at Monkey Barrel. And next Monday I am doing Material Girl at McCool's in Glasgow.
I don't know what that is, but that sounds like a rad night.
It's going to be really cool. It's an all-female night that started up in Glasgow, and it's super close to my house. So I get to just go and then go home.
I did a gig the other day that was a 6-minute walk from my house.
I think this is even less than that. It's so close to my house.
Yeah, always be doxing.
Always be doxing. I mean, there's a nice radius around it, so it could be anywhere.
Ashley gigs in all directions, folks.
There's a lot of buildings. It could be anywhere. It could be anywhere. But I guess that does give a general. I need to stop doxing myself, man. So yeah, that's all my days. What have you got coming up this week, David?
I will probably be booking in some new material stuff. I didn't do all the kind of gig emailing that I could be doing in Edinburgh because I was just trying to stay alive. Mm-hmm. So my September gigs have been pretty fucking weird or sparse. I've just been trying to do loads of new material, so I'll probably just try and drop into some Bristol stuff. The only thing I've got booked in this week is Chops, actually, which we're just starting Chops back up this week, which is the comedy gig I run with Stu Goldsmith. So that should be fun.
I need to come and do it at some point.
Please.
I really want to get into going down south a little bit and doing some gigs. I'm booked to do a gig in London in October, but I do think I'm going to have to cancel it because I can't afford to get down there.
Which gig is it?
So I'm booked to do Angel Raw, but then I might have a gig on Top Secret as well. So I don't really want to cancel it, but I think I might have to. We'll see. And then I am hoping to get down to Liverpool at some point because that seems to be a
Nice.
busy
I've just booked to do
place at
hot
the moment.
water
Yeah.
in November.
And then, yeah, Bristol would be on the list as well because that could be fun.
Let me know, because what
I will.
what I can do is I know all the people that run all the gigs here. So if you plan it far enough in advance, we could probably work it out where you can kind of come and just sync them all up and go do them.
Yeah. Oh, that would be fun.
Because they'll be excited to have you. So that
Why
would be
wouldn't they
good.
be? I'm a delight.
No, I know, but well, this is coming from the man.
It's a
who's like,
joke.
I don't know if anyone will ever like me again. So
Oh, I know that
feelings,
feeling.
Did you feelings?
So how have you been mentally and emotionally since the Fringe? Let's get right into this.
Did I tell you that I started therapy just before the Fringe?
No.
Oh, okay, cool, good. So,
I love
if you
this.
imagine drama. So if you imagine that going to do like my first hour on my own in a venue in the middle of fucking nowhere, where I didn't think anyone would come, that's a thing.
Yeah.
And
your venue was
then-
so far out.
Yeah. Do you remember
Like,
when
your
John
show
Hastings
was-
went go
your
see
show
David
was
because nobody else could
amazing.
see him?
Yeah,
Thank
your
you.
show was amazing. But I was so surprised at how well you did because of how weird your venue was location-wise.
Dude, all the conversations I've had with people are like, so all the people from Twitch came to see you perform, and I'm like, no, that was about 11 people, and they're like, okay, well, it was like the streaming stuff you did in lockdown. I'm like, no, that was about 5 people, and then they're like, Musical Comedy Awards, and I'm like, no, and they were like, what? Because I would announce like who's seen me before at the beginning of the show, and people would go like 2 people would cheer, and then they would like.
That's wild.
Go down, and after a while they'd be like, why the fuck did people come and see you?
Why did they? It's so bizarre. It
was a
legitimately
magical
not like a
mixture of-
slight on you, but it just
No, I know. It's just fun to mess with people when they say it.
Yeah.
I think it was a magical combination of title, timing, price. And
Yeah.
then if people actually looked at the thing, and also wanting to see something that isn't just straight stand up.
Yeah.
I think it was just at the right time of day that people went like, oh, it's a musical comedy thing. That might be a bit interesting. It's at 1:40 in the afternoon. It's before we could have lunch and then go there, and then we can just go do anything else. And it just seemed that like 60 people a day had that thought,
That's so cool.
which is nice.
Yeah. So
but
you
before
sorry,
that,
you
I was very
started
stressed.
therapy and you were very stressed about that.
Yeah. So
coming
there's,
up.
residual dead dad stuff. He died at like the middle of the year. So July is always like, let's remind ourselves again of those feelings. So you got that. You've got trying to prepare for the Fringe, and then just all the other projects I had, and also then finding out that I've got ADHD in like April, May, and not dealing with it very well. So all the stuff that I had to do was just pushing back to this hard wall of the Fringe. And it got to like June this year, middle of June, and my girlfriend messaged me and went, are you stressed? And I was like, yes, I am. And it was just me being like, don't worry, I'll solve all these problems all at once. And she went, because like my colleague was telling me about the night terrors they were having. And I realized that last night was the 4th night in a row you'd woken up in a start. So just wondering, are you stressed? And as soon as I acknowledged it, that was like one thing. And then I was like, let's go do therapy. And then therapy has been the best. So I worked very much with my therapist. She's kind of giving me advice on how to handle things. And so when I did my Fringe every day, is it here? I have a bullet journal, and I wrote down in the morning the 6 things I had to do in the morning before I left the house, which was stretch, meditate, have some fruit, have some breakfast. I can't remember what the other one was. And if I just did all those things, I didn't have
And
to.
you did that
worry about
all
them.
the way through the Fringe.
Just about. Even if it was like sometimes I just did like one stretch, but like it just meant that my brain wasn't trying to go in a million different places, and I did that. And as a result, everything went way smoother than any kind of Fringe ever has for me, and anything has ever gone for me ever. And I was like, oh, this is how to do my life, because I've been working against myself for 33 years trying to be perfect rather than understand that my brain gets easily distracted. So in amongst like all that stuff, which is why I didn't go see like loads of shows, but I went and saw some stuff and I hung out with people sometimes, but other times I was just at home resting because I know that my ADHD is worse when I'm tired. So I had to like go home and exercise and go home and just rest. And so I kind of left the Fringe feeling more like I could achieve anything in life than I've ever done, which I know is not the way you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to come away being like, well, that's all my money and my willpower gone. But I left being like, right, I was knackered, absolutely fucking knackered.
Uh-huh.
But and like I started trying to do work and gigging in the week after and bad, and then went on holiday, rested. But I've come back being like, okay, I can now start to achieve things. I wrote down all the projects I was trying to do at the same time, and at the moment I've got running, because I've stopped trying to do like a small part of every project every day. I started just trying to do one project until it's done. I've just rediscovered my love of Froobs, yes, because I was putting that as accountability. People were like, why is that accountability? And I was like, what it was I was trying to tell jokes.
Yeah.
I think I was 12 projects on the go that I wasn't doing anything of any of them. The first thing I did when I came back was the first project was actually hand in my ADHD referral forms that I got in May, and I've done that now.
Yes, I saw your post about that. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. And so I've been knackered, and it's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, and that kind of accountability thing was not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it's way better than anything I've ever done. So I've just kind of come back with this kind of new found like lust for life and to actually do things and be like, oh shit, I'm way more capable of doing shit if I just don't be a dickhead about it.
That's so wholesome.
Thank you.
Fuck you.
Thank you. Yeah.
How have you made this much progress since July? I've been doing therapy for 15 years.
Oh, because yours is all based on horrific trauma, whereas mine is based on ADHD and validation. So, because you've got bigger problems than me, Ashley, basically. I don't know. Look at this.
You are significantly more fucked.
Straight white man. Oh, look at that. Wow. I can't believe it was easier. Wow. Crazy. Mental. But like, I'm not saying I'm perfect, and I'm not saying this, and I'm not trying to be like, and therefore I'll be a better person. It's literally, I've been failing at life for 33 years, and just in the past like 5 years been like going, oh, I could not be as shit if I do certain things. And then in the past like 2 months, I've shed so much anxiety and imposter syndrome and anything. I mean, it really does fucking help that I'd had. It's like boot camp. I couldn't leave. I had the same thing to do every day. I had the same places to be every day. I didn't have all my stuff from home that's a distraction. Like, since I've come back, I've had loads of distractions. I've not done that. And it was going well. Like, it wasn't just like I was doing mentally okay.
It probably would have been a very different month if your show wasn't doing very well.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's all just like a again, a heady cocktail of David-based privilege. Where, but yeah, so it's I don't mean this to come across as kind of any kind of bragging. It's just more like
and it doesn't because
and then
it's just wholesome and lovely that something is working out. Like, it's great.
Yeah. It's mental, and I'm still seeing my therapist, and in part because I'm like, once a week I have somebody who kind of goes, I come to her and I'm like, I want to fuck this up, and I did this, and she goes, tell me everything you've done, and I do it, and she's like, no, it sounds like you're doing great, and I'm like, like, I have real issues with like accepting that I've done well, because I had so many people in my life telling me I wasn't doing things properly for a long time. So to actually have somebody in my life that's just kind of going like, sounds like all things considered, it's going quite well.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay.
That's so nice.
There's other issues we'll sort out. But yeah, so cheers, everybody. And I couldn't
my
have done it
God.
without the troggies. Thank you.
Oh my God. The troggies. The troggies are so good. I got to see, I think I went to see your show with a couple of troggies. I think
You certainly did.
Kimmers was there and
Kimmers was there.
Tet was
Kimmers and
there.
Tet was there. I think. Yeah, I bet
when
a
I went
bunch
to
of
go
these
see
lot.
it.
It was
And
great.
then
It's
I think
my
there was a
favorite
couple
thing.
of people when I went to see John as well.
Yes. The incredible thing of standing on a street corner during Edinburgh and somebody whose face you've never seen coming up to you and being like, David! And you're like, hi? And they're like, I'm insert Twitch screen name here. And you're like, oh shit.
Yeah,
Like,
it's very
people
cool.
waiting outside my show and going, hi, and then mumbling the name. So I'm
Yeah.
like, who? And I double down on the like, who the fuck are you? And then like it happened with a person called Levator who comes sees my streams a lot. And I was like, I went from being like to like, oh shit. Like,
Yeah, it's so funny because
nice.
it's such a different context. Like Twitch just feels like a different life, a different universe.
Yeah.
And so when
The
you
comedy
take that
immensely,
into the real world,
yeah,
it's just
Tet was there. Lovely
it's
Tet.
so
Hi, Tet.
odd.
It was great.
It,
I
in-
met
in such
Shona. I
a-
saw Shona in person.
Yeah, I think
I've met
Shona
Shona
was one of
before.
the people I met at John's show, I think.
Mm-hmm. I was walking up some stairs and Shona just walked out of a building, and I was like, "That was great."
Yeah.
But yeah. Sorry, you were saying.
No, it's just such a different universe, and so when you meet Twitch people, because we only have like your little name, your little tiny icon picture, and
what you've told us,
the bit of the personality that you're able to put across in your little comments and messages, and that's it. And we've just built like these little personalities for you all in our brains. So when you meet the real person on the end of that, it's just bizarre. Sarah Kay, I met Sarah Kay as well. I think Sarah Kay, did I meet you at ACMS? Was that the show we were at?
Yeah. Sarah's rad. I met Sarah. I was very happy to meet Sarah.
Very cool. And then I met JH Fred. I said this, I think, on the show last week. I met JH Fred without realizing that that's who they were, and I only found out afterwards.
So Ali 3G, who's in my chat all the time, was working at Monkey Barrel, and you definitely met Ali 3G. I wouldn't, if I showed you a photo, you'd be like, "Oh, that person." They had glasses and short hair.
Okay.
And they have been in chats with Baldy in many different streams, and Baldy was like, "Oh, I went to ACMS the other night in my Discord," and Ali was just like, "Well, I let you into that, so we've met." So we didn't know we've met, but we've met.
That's fun. Yeah, that's really fun. Oh dear.
Did I tell you about when they did Tom Crosby, who's performing Nerd on Twitch, did a gig that was all Twitch streamers are doing comedy. Like it did it just other ones just as a kind of gauge to see.
This wasn't at the Fringe, was it?
No. This was in like June.
Okay,
May,
yeah,
June.
I think I remember seeing you post about that.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, we're doing a gig there, and it might be fun, and there'll be a few Twitchy people there. It was just Twitch people, and then my mate Alec, who was over from Canada, and was like, "Can I see you?" And I was like, "Yeah, you can come to this gig I'm doing." And he was like, "Okay." He'd never even heard of Twitch.
In jokes.
And it was at the end. He was like, "I might try out Twitch." But
that's fun.
It was so funny because he's like the most happy-go-lucky man in the world. But like, yeah. It was just hilarious because that gig was Tom, who organized it, got like those little like white paper stickers, and you've like screen name, preferred name for today, and pronouns just on your t-shirt.
Oh, cool.
Just so that everyone, and that was it. So that whole kind of like, who the fuck are you thing? People were like, David, and I'll be like, you are. Oh, okay. Hi, Rat Freak. Hi, Darkshine Light. And there's people who were like, this is my face. So
that's
I was very drunk. I was so drunk at that. I left being like, whoops.
That was
I went on first, and so all my kind of like pre-gig anxieties of doing everything.
sure.
I was like, oh, I'm done now. I can just get hammered.
Oh, I love that. I do enjoy going on early in a show. I don't like hanging about because I just build up anxiety before I go on stage. And also, the sooner I come off stage, the sooner I can have a drink. Because I never drink before I go on. But I don't deal too badly with imposter syndrome. I just it doesn't affect me in the way that I hear a lot of people talking about it.
I've heard the way you talk about things. I can see it doesn't affect you the way it affects me. Just the way
Sure.
I've heard you talk, which is good. That's good.
Oh, I'm interested in that though. in what ways?
Oh,
do I
just
talk?
like I've heard you talk about certain aspects of gigging and stuff where I'm like, oh, you've gone into that very confidently.
Yeah, I have
And
like
just
a
sort of-
weird confidence in ways that a lot of people don't have, and then
it's great.
I have anxiety about other things that people don't have.
Yeah.
But one of the places that I did experience imposter syndrome was like meeting the people from this show. I'm just like, what if I don't live up to what I'm like on the show? And it was like, but I mean, it's that thing of like, I know this sounds daft, but you can't stop the brain from doing it,
That is what imposter syndrome is. It's
yeah.
not. It doesn't make any sense.
It makes no
if
sense.
It does.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of like preconceived notions and stuff. Like the day I turned around to some people and went, "Oh, I guess I just am a comedian then. I'm not trying to be a comedian," was last year when I'd been doing comedy for 5.5 years and had done a show with people who were way more experienced than me for like 4 hours. And afterwards they went like, that was great. I'll see you later. And I was like, I spent 2 hours after that walking around being like, well, they're going to find out I'm not actually a comedian. I'm just trying to be a comedian. And then eventually after chatting to some people and doing stuff, I was like, oh no, I just am a comedian. And I was so like, oh, I thought when you became a comedian, it was like fanfares and shit. And it's like, no, you just believe in yourself.
You just are one at some point. Yeah.
Yeah.
There is like a point you have to reach, and it's like a personal thing. There's no kind of definitive thing, but
yeah,
there's definitely some open micros who think they're comedians that are not.
And again, you just have to let them get on with that and just
Yeah.
try not to get annoyed about it, even though it can be very frustrating.
Yeah, but it's quite funny that there's that kind of juxtaposition in the industry of those people, and then there's people like yourself who don't believe they're comedians
Yes.
until they're like already massively successful.
Yeah.
It's
the
bizarre.
more you think you're going to do and are capable of, and you're like, well, when I do live at the Apollo one day, and then you do more gigging, and you're like, oh, I might one day middle Monkey Barrel.
Yeah,
that would be good.
Yeah.
But it's so funny to me that you, and I completely respect and acknowledge why you would feel the way you do about it, but you are one of the most authentic people I've ever seen on Twitch ever, where you have like zero filter. So
you actually said this to me because we had not met before the Fringe,
and
within
like
a we just like, it was as if we had been friends for a long, long time. But I think you said this to me at some point. You were just like, oh, you're exactly as you are on the show.
Yes. And because I said something and you looked at me for a second like, why the fuck do you know that? And I was like, I could tell you a million things worse than that than I know about you. So
I forget.
I remember what it was. But your eyes looked at me like, how the fuck do you know that? Have you been spying on me? And I was like, no, you've said it out loud on a stream 20 million times.
I just forget everything that I say on this show, and forget that the things that I say on this show have consequences in the real world, and it means that people know. The people that listen to this show know more about me than a lot of my close friends.
Yeah. It's so funny when you're willing to do that.
I just say things, and I think it's John and Chris as well. They just like pull it out of me.
Yeah,
they're magnets for like dark secrets,
Yeah. And also they are the sort of people like they're kind of great for, and also arseholes as a fact that like you tell them something that you've not told somebody before, or
Yeah.
you haven't really thought about, or just something you don't think you'd usually share, and they're not there like calling you, like they're not being negative towards you,
They're
even
so
if they think what you're doing
receptive
is
to
wrong.
it.
They're like, they receive it in such a way that makes you like feel like and like they'll make you funny and receive it. So you're like, well, if you like that, I've got like 20 more stories like this, and then they're
Yeah.
like, great. And so yeah, Ashley is the only
Yeah, they're
person
really excellent.
person I've ever seen use radical honesty without it being an excuse to be a prick. No, that's true. Also, the name Yes Meatballs is such a good Twitch name.
It's a good Twitch name.
I don't know what happened to them. At one point, there was somebody who was frequenting my stream called Yogurt Honkers, and I think about their Twitch
Brilliant
name
name.
all the time.
Brilliant name.
So good, but yeah, so it's nice, and it's I don't know. That probably sounds wanky. I was gonna say it's like refreshing to see somebody just so genuine, but it made me so happy because then we went and got wings.
We
I was
went
like,
and
I think I'm
got
gonna go
food.
find my friend Ashley, but service wasn't working, and you hadn't responded to my message. And as I said that to my friend, you just walked round a corner towards me, and I was like, "Hi," and you were like, "Oh, you're here. Okay, great. Okay, fine. What are you doing?"
And
I was
then we
like,
went to Ikigai.
Ikigai. Very
Ikigai.
nice.
Which was really excellent, recommended by Pierre Novelli to
Mm.
go and get some food there, and then we went, and it was so good. I think I went there with you again, didn't I?
No, we tried to. We ended up going to the weird sushi place.
Oh, we
up the
did
top.
too. I went there 2 or 3 other times with other people though.
Nice. I think about the
and
chicken
it
wings I
was-
had in there a lot.
It was so
Like a lot.
good. It was really, really tasty.
What does Scran McGrowler
Ooh.
Private Eye mean? Have you come across the
We got a new
Twitch user?
follow. Welcome into the Troggies.
Hazel.
Scram
Hi, Hazel.
McGrowler
Hazel,
Private
Hazel,
Eye.
somebody I know in real life.
Oh, cool.
Hazel joined Twitch, all this Twitchy stuff, but Hazel used to work with the guy who was saying about with the Great Dad used to work
cool.
with that guy. Hazel's worked
It's all
on
full circle.
many Marvel films and works in like
ooh.
3D scanning. You'd appreciate all the stuff. Basically, what happens is my Twitch streams consist of me slagging off big movies, and then Hazel going, "Well, fuck you, David. I worked on that," and then I'm like, "Sorry."
Nice. I'm trying to get into the working in the movies, but it's a difficult industry.
Yes. Better than Wings, Baldy. I went to Wings as well, and some of the wings there were great, and some of them I didn't like them as much. But there's so much
I need to go to
choice
Wings
there.
again. I haven't been to Wings for a few years.
The first time I went, they plonked us on the table downstairs with the GameCube, and I was like, "This is the greatest restaurant of all time." We went this time, and they just plonked us upstairs, and I was like, "This isn't as fun. You need the games consoles." But yeah, the wings, they were great wings. It's just another type of wing.
I went, and whatever one I ordered, they had like bacon fries crumbled over it, and I was just like, "What is this? This is some sort of magic." Like, I'm sorry, but if there's one thing that's ever going to give me coronary disease, it's bacon fries.
Nice. Do you ever I have shortened my life, I reckon, because in the local co-op to me, they've got packets of pre-cooked crispy bacon that I think you're supposed to put in sandwiches, and you're supposed to put like 2 strips in sandwiches. I refer to that as snacking bacon, and I just get it out and just crumble it into my mouth. And I have one, and I'm like, "Oh, that was the greatest thing I've done all day. I think I'm going to do that again." And then you just do that.
You
and
just
then
eat
you're
the
like,
whole packet.
well, it's like at one point I was like, "Wow, I've just eaten a packet of snacking bacon in 3 days." And then one day you're like, "Well, that lasted 3 hours. That's good." Because it's just that you go to the fridge, and you're like, "What's here?" Is that?
Is it real bacon?
It's just pre-cooked crispy bacon that they put in a packet. It's the same sort of bacon you'd get if you had like a BLT in a sandwich. They just take that same bacon, they just put it in a separate packet.
That's a lot worse than what I do. That is going to kill you.
Yeah. I don't do it that often because it was one of those lockdown things where I did it like 4 weeks in a row and then suddenly went like,
I shouldn't. Yeah.
my heart doesn't like it. Also, I quite like living, so maybe I shouldn't have snack. It's also just the phrase snacking bacon doesn't fit. Nobody's like, well, what is that? They're like, that's bad.
Yeah.
Even if it is great, which let me tell you, it is wonderful. It's very similar to that. I just rewatched Pierre's Quiet One special. Have you seen Pierre's Quiet One
I
special on
haven't
YouTube?
actually. I think I've seen clips of it, but I haven't seen the whole thing. But I did go and see his show in
so
the
good.
end. I caught his
watched
show on the
that,
last
and I
day.
watched. Have you seen Alfie Brown's new special as well?
Excellent. If you
Very, very
have
good.
not
Live at
already
Liverpool.
watched Alfie Brown's new Live at Liverpool show on YouTube, go and watch it. It is
Very good.
like the guy is just unstoppable.
So two things of that. One, I need to tell you about somebody with Alfie the other day, but I'll just finish what my point was. Pierre's got a bit in his special about ordering a mighty bucket for one because, and they called it that because even people who want that can't go into KFC and just say bucket for one, please. So they put the word mighty on it just to do it, which is Pierre is a genius. Yeah.
I had to try and swallow a mouthful of water
he's
there
so
without
fucking
it coming
funny.
out my nose.
I can't wait for this new show to get recorded because it's just an hour of punchlines. It's
Yeah.
fucking nuts. Alfie's Chappelle joke is an all-timer. It's
It's
phenomenal.
so good. It is so good.
Yeah, ridiculous. Somebody the other day was like talking to me. They'd met Alfie and they weren't sure about. I think like they just ended and he kind of went like, and Alfie just went, well, it was nice to meet you. And the guy was like, I didn't know how to feel. I was like, no,
That was an excellent Alfie impression.
that's just how Alfie talks to people, isn't it? I was like, Alfie was like, I think I'm going to go see Garrett. Was like, that's how I met him. Is everyone was weird that he just went, and I just had to stand there and just be like, this guy was like, I didn't know how to feel because I didn't know if I'd annoyed him or upset him. I was like, no, that's just how
he is. Yeah,
how he talks. He spends his entire life just being like, I think I'm going to have 12 beers. I think I'm going to do this, and just yeah. No, he was so lovely to me.
Alfie's excellent. Really good. Yeah, go and watch his special, folks.
Also, if you you paused, you internet paused just for a second where your face went like this. It was very weird. It's just my end. I don't know. It was fine. I don't know if Sharon won't appreciate me pointing this out, but if you watch Pierre's special, the first laugh you hear, we like that laugh's a bit loud, is Shona and Exploding Lemon originating. And when you're like, oh, that laugh was a bit loud, and then it happens after every joke, and so you're like, the first time I watched it, I was like, I know who that is. That's really weird, but it's phenomenal. It just adds to it. I'm a loud laugh, yes. It's not. You're not a loud laugh. You're the loud laugh in Pierre Novelli's special.
That's excellent. That's so fun.
So good.
So I went to see John's show on the night that he recorded it, which is the one that he's going to use.
Sure.
Because it was the last night, and the two other shows that he recorded, he just said no, I wasn't happy with them.
Yeah.
But it was an excellent show. But there is a point.
Shona's thing. Dogan pointed out to me that she said she laughs like a rabbit getting fingered. Boomstick saying, no idea what that sounds like. Nobody likes a liar, boom.
Yeah.
Sorry, so you were at John's
Kirsten,
special.
you saw that show that night. Why did you not come and say hello to me? I still haven't met you in person, Kirsten. This is not acceptable. This is not acceptable.
Unacceptable.
I can't believe you were in that show. Do you know what it was? Is that I was sat with Mary Elaine, and Mary Elaine has a very distinctive laugh. And I'm sorry, you saw me like 4 times you didn't point yourself out one of those times, Kirsten.
Oh, let me do my best impression of Kirsten.
This is not on. Kirsten, I'm very, very unhappy with you right now.
Fight.
Ooh,
Kirsten fucked up.
So I was sat next to Mary Elaine. She has a distinctive laugh. I have maybe a distinctive laugh if you know what to look for. But also there's a couple of points in the show where we're the only people that laughed, and it works really, really well because I think he draws attention to it at one point where he's like, "Thank you, other comedians laughing."
Yeah. That's a very
That
John
is-
thing to do.
yeah,
Thank you,
yeah.
back of the room. This
Yeah.
is my impression of John doing comedy. Thank you, this side. Let's pick
Yeah.
up the pace. Like,
I
he did
saw
that at the fucking
John's-
Melbourne Gala in front
I
of like thousands of people. He's like, this side, let's pick up the pace. And I'm like, Jesus, man, you're on
He's
telly.
brilliant. I think the thing is, I've been talking to John now for 2 years steadily, maybe a little bit more at this point. I'm not sure.
Yep.
And he's starting to just bleed into my inner monologue. Chris is a little bit too, but John is kind of more distinctive, and I've also seen John do stand up a lot more.
More abrasive a human being as well.
Yeah, he's got a very upfront, abrasive, as you say, kind of
we're doing
manner.
this now, and I'm gone.
Yeah. And so when I was writing this evening, I was trying to write and put things together, and I have written a line into my set, and it's just everything about it is a John line.
Great.
He hasn't written it. It's my joke. I've written it.
Oh, that's fine.
It's his voice that's written it in my head.
See if when you say it, he laughs or goes, "You motherfucker." Because if he laughs, then what an arrogant twat. But
I know.
I
I'm looking
also-
forward to him seeing it because I think I think he'll enjoy it.
Yeah. That's great. That's nice.
Yeah.
I know what you mean though, where you suddenly write something and you're like, that's basically a different person's joke that I'm just
Yeah.
gonna carry on doing it. And maybe that's
But like, it's not his joke. He
It's
hasn't written it. I haven't
osmosis
stolen
and
it.
stuff.
It's just
Yeah.
his voice
Yeah,
that
yeah,
resides in my brain now.
That's cool. You've been influenced.
Influenced.
I keep on thinking about when you and I were watching Alfie's show and he did the joke about Scrubs.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Because I was like, nope, this is too real, and I just died. And you were prodding me, being like, "Are you all right?" And I'm like, nope, this man has climbed
hit a
inside
nerve.
my soul with like the least verbally offensive joke he said in the whole set.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like, I feel too seen now.
Yeah.
So
That was so funny.
That was so
We
good.
we had a lot of fun watching that show. We actually ended up seeing quite a few shows together, you and I did, totally by happenstance. We didn't plan to go and see any of them together at all.
I don't think we planned
ended up
any in
going.
advance.
Yeah, we just ended up at them together.
Maybe one or two. There was a particular place where I knew I could possibly find Ashley and a few other people, and often did. And then they
Was
would
that
be like,
at the
"We're gonna do-"
wrestling show?
No, I wasn't going to name the bar just in case we're not.
Oh,
gonna-
sure. Sorry. Oh, sorry. I thought you meant like going to one of the shows you knew I was going to be there.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah, and then that was it. Like Alfie walked in and went, "I'm going to go see Garrett's show," and you were like, "Shall I go see Garrett's show?" And I was like, "Shall I come see Garrett's show?" And that's how we saw
And
Garrett's
that
show.
we
then-
all went to see Garrett's show.
and we
Yeah.
would be together, like, "Do you want to see this?" It's like, it's there in like half an hour, and I'm like, "Yeah, we'll just go do that." And I much prefer that. That suits my ADHD brain way
Yeah.
more than panicking and trying to be like, "Well, this is the allotted time I have before I have to do a thing."
Yeah.
It's much easier for me to go do be somewhere and someone's like, "Do you want to do that?" It doesn't conflict with any of your plans and is very simple. And I'm like, yes, that would be
Yes.
nice. And that's, I saw Alfie, me and Alfie saw Matt Ewins because he went, I think I'm going to go see Matt Ewins. I'm like,
Yeah,
I've been
and
wanting to see that.
I should have joined you guys then, but I sort of missed what was happening, and then I
Yes,
ended up kind
sorry.
of there for a little while by myself, and then you guys came back, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I could have gone to that with you," but I just didn't
Yeah, sorry.
realize what was happening. But that's okay.
Matt Ewins'
I
show
heard
was
that show
great,
was really
Baldy.
good. I didn't make it along in the end. I exclusively saw shows of people that I spent like that I know in person who are pals. I didn't see anything of somebody that I don't know.
It's really weird to go to the Fringe as a comedian because everybody in comedy has different opinions on comedy and knows different people.
Mhm.
And certain people are like, I want to absorb as much comedy as humanly possible and go see all the things. And then some people are like, I'm not seeing anything. And then people like you and me are like, I'd like to support my friends and also see
Yeah.
something that is actually going to really interest me, and not like John's talked about it on here before, I think. Hi, Alex. Is if you're watching something that's far too close to what you do, you can spend an entire hour in a dark room just being like, motherfucker, you motherfucker. Even if you're really, if you like it and stuff, and you just, your internal monologue fires off way more than it should be, and you should just be enjoying the thing. So it's too easy to fall in like a comparative trap. Whereas I think if it's your friend, it's quite nice to go. You're supporting them, and but even then, still, I didn't see all of my friends' stuff. I just kind of.
I mean, I don't think it's possible to go and see all of your friends.
No.
I saw quite a lot, actually. I'm quite impressed with what I managed to see. But like I say, it was all peers. But I think that was sort of
friends.
Yeah, have less friends.
We try.
That was sort of my plan, though, because I kind of want to see peer work. I want to absorb that a lot so that I have a better idea of what it is I'm going to try and do myself.
Perfect. Yeah.
And I think it really, really helped get my mindset working that way. And I like I say, I went to see John's show 3 times. I went to see Crystal Evans twice. I went to see Stu McPherson's show twice, and I went to see Garrett Millerick's show twice. And Garrett's show was excellent.
The night that I saw Alfie with you, I saw Scott Bennett's show as well, and those 2 shows have had way more of effect on me than I ever thought anything else really did, because I just watched 2 very good stand-ups who are nothing like me stand-up wise. Do a good show to a not necessarily like the easiest of audiences. Like it wasn't like plain sailing for either of them, and so I watched them work, and I was like, I wasn't like taking notes, but in my head I was like, oh, that's what they do in that situation, and I was like, oh, okay, this is so interesting and nice. And I kind of came away from it being like, oh, I feel like I could harness some of that to be a better comedian, and I enjoyed the show.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I do. I totally get what you mean, because there's certain people that I watch and I just try and absorb. It might not necessarily be like studying it and writing down exactly what they're doing or whatever, but it's just trying to absorb that mentality or that ethos that they bring to their performance. And
I can tell you specifically what I learned if you want, but like I was literally watching Scott and Alfie, and Scott is like a club comic through and through. So like doing like an hour show would just be like him headlining a thing. But it was watching him, and then Alfie did exactly the same thing, and I really noticed it was like building the room up as you go from the start, and not kind of, I think when you go see a show in your head, you're like, I will see the show. Whereas to be a comedian, you have to kind of come in and be like, you're a bit weird. Who's this? Why are you doing that? And it's not just kind of like a soppy kind of crowd work thing. It's like, over here we've got these people who are bringing this vibe, and then we've got this, and if something over here is happening, I can kind of, what is it? Or I can pit these people against these people, or I can do it, and just building the room up so you've got different things, and then when you've got stuff in your show that you can kind of deflect stuff, and if a joke didn't land, then you can kind of be like, well, what happened there is this because of that. And it was a very I don't know if does that make sense? Like just seeing somebody build.
No, I know exactly what you mean,
and get the
I don't
spinning in different places. And
I don't know Scott, but I know exactly what you mean with Alfie, and he's really, really talented at that. And that is something that I struggle with, but would love to become adept at. And it's that kind of crowd work thing, but it is a bit more than crowd work. It's that live comedy experience thing. And
Yes.
if you watch Alfie's special that he's just put up on YouTube, he's doing that footnotes thing. And one of those footnotes is, I love the live nature of comedy. And he really kind of tries to harness that idea of every live show that you come to is different. If you come to the show on one day at the Fringe, it's not necessarily going to be the same show that you see if you come 2 weeks later or whatever, or at different tour dates, or I don't know. And he really, I think, lives for that in comedy.
Yeah.
And he's so good at it, and he's so brilliant. I'm terrible at crowd work. I'm trying to build up to it a little bit more. And one of the things I sort of worked on tonight when I was planning out in my head was like a bit where I'm gonna address an audience member, and I don't do that very often, but I'm gonna try.
The more you do it, it's just another skill that the more you do it, the better you'll get at it, right? And so the next day, I was like, I'm gonna try and build the audience up. I was like, okay, I'm gonna try and build the room like I just saw these guys do, and then it was a quite difficult crowd where I had some shouty people and some other difficult stuff going on, and it just wasn't the day for me to do it, and I just had to like dig in deep and kind of combat them a bit. And then I was like, right, tomorrow I'll try and do it. And then the next day they were even worse, and I just went, in my head I went, fucking no, you don't fucking do that. They were just a very like tepid crowd, and also started to be a bit chatty, and I just turned around to this guy in the front row who just did his own first thing, and I went, these people haven't spent a tenner to see you do jokes, mate, and just shut him down. And I've never in my life done that. And everyone was like, haha, and I was like, oh, okay.
I absolutely cracked on stage one time. Like other times I've generally been pretty good at ignoring chit chat, or just not really getting sucked into it. And then there was one time where I just sort of snapped, and I actually was coming home and did this show after it, and I said it to Chris, and he was just like, oh, it happens to us all. But I just literally went, will you shut the fuck up? And totally killed the whole vibe of the room. Like,
the desired skill is that happens and you make it fun.
Well, yeah, but I didn't even, the thing is,
I'm not saying that I can't do it. It's hard to do it.
I didn't even try.
Eventually you want to get to the stage where you could do that, but it's hard. And it's really hard.
Snapped. I just lost it.
I basically had that last night where I was like, what is happening at the back of the room? And they were like, we're ordering a drink. And I was like, okay, have you done it now? And they were like, no. And I was like, okay, just like, I think I almost did like the Ross thing of like, and I just had, last night I just had to be like, come on, guys. They're a very posh crowd I was playing to. So it's like, just bring it fucking down. But even then I still was like, a different comic might have been able to do it in a way that's kind of zingy, and it kind of is fun for them, even when they're being told to shut up. And that's a real skill that will take years to master. So, but I'm really excited for you, and that's great. I want to say I'm proud of you, which sounds very sycophantic and patronizing.
No, I appreciate it.
That you are taking a step to do that, because it's such a...
It's the tiniest little interaction, but I guess you give any opening and anything can go wrong. I did used to have a bit where I got somebody from the audience up on stage to do something.
Yes.
And it just never landed the way I wanted it to. Now, I say that I did it when I supported Fern Brady on tour.
Yeah.
And she laughed.
Great.
And that means a lot.
Yes.
She seemed to enjoy the bit. And she... like, this is one of the best things that's ever happened to me. But there was two things. She told me that she thought it was very considered, and I didn't really know how to take that. But I found out last year, I think, which is 2 years post me supporting her, I found out that she told Alfie Brown, who we've been talking about, he told me that she went and told him after I supported her that she thought he would like my stuff.
Awesome. That's great. Well, congratulations. That's nice.
And I was just like,
That's
that
the
is
appropriate. That's the appropriate hand movements there.
that is insanely complimentary. For
I want to
her
see
to
you
go and specifically tell Alfie
Yeah.
that she thought, like, just talking about me.
Yes, and that's another imposter syndrome thing of like,
Yeah.
well, that's somebody outside of the realms of what I do, telling somebody else outside the realm, and it's like you're like, no, I'm inside that realm,
Yeah.
but I just haven't
To
thought
the point
about it.
where,
But
like, I was talking to Alfie during the Fringe, and I was like, you've never seen me perform. Whatever it was we were talking about, I was like, yeah, but you've never seen me. And he was like, yeah, I have. I was like, no, you haven't. He was like, no, I think I have, because Farn told me that you were good.
Yeah.
And
And
I
you
was
went
like,
melted.
yeah. But like, to the point where he's just convinced himself that he's already seen me.
Yes.
Which is bizarre. And
Danny
then Will
McLaughlin
Duggan,
is convinced
Will
he's
Duggan
met
told
me a
me
million
that.
times.
Hmm?
And I only met him once. Danny
Oh.
McLaughlin did, because I did Frog Bucket online with him loads.
Sure.
Because I was teching it. And I met him in Edinburgh. And I was like, dude, it's so good to finally meet you. And he was like, no, we've met. And I had to like I spent like 10 minutes. It's really bad. I spent like 10 minutes being like, we haven't met. He's like, no, but we've met. And I'm like, no, we haven't. And
That's gas.
And he was just so convinced. Sorry, what you were saying about Will.
Oh no, it was just going to be that Farron also told Will Duggan that I did really well. So that's just another. It's like, oh,
nice.
I came up twice.
Weird gaslighting, David. Yes, he's gaslighting me, saying we have met when we haven't. There was a moment in the Fringe where I was in a bar and I spoke to a particular comedian, and we went from talking about the gig we'd done together, which I was mentally happy to have been on the gig with them, and then we just went to just chatting shit, and I said a little thing and he went like proper belly laugh, and like in my head, outside I was like, and in my head I was like, come on, David.
What?
So, like, I was so like happy with myself that I just made this like person that I was like
I see what you
idolizing.
mean. I see what you mean. Yeah,
I was
yeah.
just like, go on. But like on the outside, I'm like, oh yeah, cool. Yeah. It's
That's
so
brilliant. That's so good.
If you haven't met David IRL in Ireland before, you will spend 10+ minutes admiring how tall he is.
Yeah.
Have I told you that that's come around full circle to the point now where people come up to me and they go, you're not as tall as I thought you were, because everyone's been telling me how tall you are.
How tall you are, yeah. That's quite funny. That's brilliant. It's kind of doing the opposite effect now.
They're like, I've been told how tall you are, and then it just turns out you're 6'1", and I'm like, yeah. But everybody's like, what?
That's brilliant.
Excellent use of IRL there, by the way, Diamond Geezer.
Yes,
Lovely to
I
see
enjoyed
you.
that. I enjoyed that.
Um,
There's so like, because John and I haven't really gotten into talking about the Fringe that much yet, because we're kind of like, there's no point in us really getting into it, because Chris is gonna want to hear it all, and Chris just hasn't been able to be back since we came back from the Fringe.
Yeah, sure.
And so there's so many things I'm just so excited to talk to them about.
I'm excited to see you talk to them about it, because I know that you saw John sporadically, but not loads.
Not much
and
at
not
all.
For like, and I knew that was going to happen, because he was one of my archetypal models of how do you stay sane at the Fringe, and he's like,
yeah,
you will see me after my show, and then I will fuck off. And I was like, well, if he's doing that and he is that good, then I should probably take a leaf out of his book and do that a bit. And then I know that Chris just hasn't been, you won't have seen Chris, but I hung out with you a bit and got to chat to you about certain things, so I am very excited.
We talked about some stuff.
We talked about things. So I'm very excited to see you discuss it with them.
It's going to be fun.
Lovely.
I have a lot to tell them. There's stuff that John still doesn't know as well, so it's going to be fun.
And little Alex Hall isn't even that little. Did you mean little Alex Horn? He's very big. I saw he walked past me. You know, Greg Davis is very short. He is not. They are both very tall.
I really adore Greg Davis, but I'm not a Taskmaster fan that much. But I absolutely love Greg Davis, and I cannot wait to potentially meet him at some point.
Nice. The one time I met Greg Davis, I was working in a sales job where I stood in shopping centres and had to stop people to sell them photo shoots.
Oh,
So my
God.
job was just to stop people and do things. And I think he has family in the Southwest.
Sure.
So he was back for Christmas, and it's a few days before Christmas. He just wanders past me in a shopping centre. And I was so just like, that's fucking Greg Davis. That I was like, oh. And he looked at me as a guy about to sell him something and went, oh, fuck off. And I spent about a month being like, that guy's a piece of shit. And then suddenly realizing, and then I suddenly had this real realization where I was like,
salesman.
oh, no, wait, I was doing a job I hated. And he looked at me and was like, fuck off. And I'm like, yeah, okay, great.
Yeah.
Can I ask you in an incredibly patronizing way,
Yes.
what time of day have you tried to watch Taskmaster?
Probably during the day.
Okay. The
Why?
perfect time I've watched Taskmaster. I watch it in the evening when my girlfriend wants to watch it, and I think it's fun and fine. Hungover in the morning. The best TV. You know how like
Okay,
certain
I'll give that a
sitcoms,
go.
if you go to watch it, you're like, I think because it's just so silly and there's no stakes and everything is so trivial, and yet it's heralded as this really good thing. You go into Taskmaster. It took me a few times to get into it, and I've discussed it with a few other people with the same sort of thing, where it's like, it's held in such high esteem that you go to watch it and you're like, this is fine. And then I've watched it recontextualized, just knackered, and just people being silly and doing simple things. And I was like, now is when I should be watching this. And that's all I'll say. I'm still not going to be
I'll give it another try. Fern Brady's on this series, so I think that will
Yes.
be a lot of fun to watch.
Yes. The series should be rad. And this is it. It's like, find a series with people you like as well. Like, find a whole series of people you really like. And then, because it doesn't really matter what order you watch the series in, but you should watch a series in order. But it's just, like Takeshi does. Like, I found like Brooklyn Nine-Nine and a few other TV shows. If I tried to watch them during the day when I was super alert, I would just hate them. But when you're like sleepy, like just before bed or just when you wake up, the perfect fodder where you're like, oh, my brain doesn't have to think about anything, and the people just do the light-hearted, silly things. It's like,
like when you're just scrolling on YouTube.
Yes, yeah. I would watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine and play Flow Free on my phone and have the best time and watch like 3 episodes.
I might need to reevaluate how I approach Taskmaster then.
Which is a weird thing to say, but it's good. I'm also like, I don't like to say the word stan, but I don't know how else to equivalent it. But I've been an Alex Horn stan for ages, and so when he started doing that,
I really, really like Greg Davis as well. So
yeah,
I need to get into it.
Have you ever had that? Like, this sounds like your thing of like, you really like people involved with stuff, and yet when you try the thing, you're a bit like,
yeah,
sure.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Sure. And also, anytime anything's been like, everyone's like, it's amazing. If your opinion of it doesn't meet the way people have sold it to you, then it's disappointing. Even if it's like,
well, the thing is,
it's here. You're like,
I'm not huge on the kind of British comedy panel show thing. Like, Mock the Week, 8 out of 10 Cats.
Sure.
Like, they're fine.
It's not for you. It's not for you, is it?
It's one of those things where I'm just like, this is such a huge part of the business I work in.
Yes.
But I'm just like, meh.
Well, you don't have to, and there's plenty of people within the industry that fucking hate them. So
yeah. But they still watch them. I just don't really engage with them, so I should really. But anyway, Taskmaster is a bit different. It is. They can't ram their act into the tasks.
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
That's a slight dig there. Well done.
Massive. That's massively true. Where you watch stuff and you can just see people be like,
you can see how people ram stuff in. Sorry, I keep kicking this bin under my desk, so I'm just going to move it.
Fuck you, bin. Can everyone in the chat just type "fuck you, bin"? We just need to get this bin.
Yeah,
back in
this
its
is the
place.
bin. It's like a metal
Fuck you,
steel thing,
bin.
so it's kind of bothering me. Now, David, you told me earlier on that you had come up with some sort of quiz.
Great. So I have this idea for a thing. You know, like how I have a million projects that I was trying to work on all at the same time.
Uh-huh.
Have I show? Let me show you this first before.
Okay, I'm so excited. David's basically, he has told me nothing about this plan.
So there's a YouTuber called Struthless who gave me this diagram that I've made my own version of, which is get heaps of idea, start a new project, tell people about the project, and then the arrow just goes around finishing the project and get heaps of ideas.
So
and
you haven't written a quiz.
That's ADHD. No, okay. So this is I have an idea. The idea I've been trying to work on a quiz idea for a long time. I've done versions of it here, there, and everywhere. And I want to do a podcast of it at some point.
Oh,
But this is all like, that would require time
is
and
this
effort.
going to be the trial run of your podcast?
Well, so I just want stupid rounds. And one of the rounds I have is I've recorded myself saying something backwards and you have to guess what it is.
Oh, brilliant.
But I've done that. I've just done it all. And I was just thinking like, Ashley and I have got lots of things to say, but it might be fun. I thought of like, this might be a fun, silly thing to like throw into the mix of what we're doing. And I've recorded 10 untitled Twitch stream themed sentences of or just words or phrases.
They're
that
UTS themed.
Yeah. Just so that am I able to share my screen and audio?
You are, yes. I'll have to bring it up, but if you share it, I'll have it there.
Okay.
This could be fun.
But I just thought, that's another one that I didn't do. Sorry, Boomstickery. I was thinking like I know loads of them, and then as soon as you sit down to do it, you're like,
the thing is, you probably know them better than I'm going to. I'm probably going to not remember what they are.
Sure. Sharing screen easier to
I feel like everything from this show just empties from my brain. I forget it so much, even though I don't because like I remember the experience of talking to John and Chris, and I feel like I'm with them every week. I miss Chris so much right now. It's been like 2 months since I spoke to him, which is too long to not speak to Chris Betts, and I really do miss him. But let me bring up your quiz.
This is just little files on my thing. So as an example, open file location. This will work better. Can you hear this?
Yes.
Any idea what that is?
Play it again. I have no idea. This is
the only person I've tested this on is my girlfriend with some other random phrases I did the other day, and she was like, "I don't understand this at all." And okay, we've got Sucked by Deirdre.
That's a very decent guess.
You reckon it's John?
It's all going to be your voice, I take it.
Yeah. It's just me recording.
You're saying it.
I just sat here with my girlfriend in the other room going, "What are you doing? Why are you saying such weird things?" And I'm like, "Give me a minute."
Keep playing it. No, it doesn't end on an S sound, does it? I have absolutely no idea.
Well, just as this is an example of the first one. This is untitled Twitch stream.
Okay, I knew it. I did know it ended in a U.
We don't have to do all of these, but there's some of them there's one of them which is so easy that I'm like, this will be silly.
Okay, try the easy one then.
Let's see. I can't remember which one it is. Is it? Hang on, I can find out which one the easiest one. Yeah, start with the easier one and we'll see. But yeah, this is why I'm kind of protesting the idea because I think it would be funny, and I think it's funny to say funny things and do whatever.
There was a show that used to do this, and I don't remember what it was.
Okay, here we go.
Why do you think that's easy?
Oh no.
It's oh no. It's
Oh no.
oh no. Yeah, and I'm only getting that because it's
Oh
been put in the chat.
no.
I only got that because it's been put in the chat. That was not my own figuring out.
No, that's fine. I
should hide the chat from
If you want
myself,
to play
to be
without
honest.
without the chat guessing, yeah. I thought this might be a thing that the chat could also join in and guess with.
That's so funny.
Let's see. I can't
Okay, I'm
remember
not
all the
looking
other
at the
ones.
chat anymore, but let me see if I can get one. I
Okay.
need to get one of them.
I'll
This is
just
a
go for
very
a few of
funny
them and we'll
game.
see how it goes. Sigurd. Sigurd.
Play it again.
Igor. You gotta think what it is and then reverse it in your head. Matt Blair's just raided.
Oh, we have a raid. Welcome in, raiders.
A very lovely,
We're
lovely
playing a
man.
very strange game.
I've
I'm
crowbarred
not-
in something awful into what we're doing.
Yeah. Here's a raid video.
That was me singing it. Hi, Matt
It
Blair. Matt
was.
Blair is
Yeah, David Hoare has
a-
designed all the music for the show. If you're not familiar with David Hoare, go and follow him.
Oh, did it double because I've got my audio shared on here? Sorry. It was doubled there.
Oh,
All
I
aboard
was
the board train.
wondering
Hi, Angel.
why that
What else going
happened. Welcome in, Raiders. This is the
Sorry.
Untitled Twitch stream. This is a live stream podcast show where we basically talk shite. I'm Ashley. I'm one of the usual hosts. David is a guest today because my two other guest hosts. Oh, I just emoted them there. My two other regular hosts, John and Chris, couldn't be here today, so David is kindly filling in for them, maybe permanently. This is just going to become the David
the
and Ashley
ultimate
show
betrayal
now.
of them giving you guest host and then you
You
firing
know,
both of
you know what? Fuck you. It's just me. It's just me now. This is just my show for the rest of time. John and Chris are never coming back. I'm totally kidding. I miss them so much.
I could also never replace them.
Oh, no.
Matt Blair is wonderful. Please go follow Matt Blair. Also, please go follow. Can anybody who's good at shout outs do a shout out for Matt Blair, but also do one for Angel Interceptor, who's also a wonderful comedian. Both wonderful comedians, both wonderful human beings.
Yes. Next week, welcome to UTS with Ashley Manning, Will Duggan, and David Hoare. Yeah, there's a big push for Will Duggan to be a regular host now.
Do you know who I can
he
see not
cannot
going in for
commit to
that?
something like that.
Is Will Duggan.
It was his idea, but it's also like he doesn't want to do it. It's very funny.
I think it's so much better that you're like, it's like, the thing I like about this is that there's the three of you, and then just below that, it's not like we have a
regular
guest.
cast of characters.
There is Tom Tuck, me, Will Duggan, Ashley Story, Mary Elaine, sort of level of people who are like, if they're there, you're not like, what the fuck is this? You're like, oh shit, Mary Elaine's on. Okay, right, okay, this is gonna get weird, or like, you know.
Yeah, we have a nice regular crew that come on the show. Fitzheim hasn't been on for a very long time, and I think he's only been on about twice ever. So
I met Fitzheim in person at the Fringe the same time I met Tom Tuck.
I met
at
him
the Fringe
last year at the Fringe, and oh my god, I met Tom Tuck at the Fringe, and we just saw each other across the TV square and ran to a big, huge embrace, and it was wonderful. And then I saw him a few times. I saw his show with you.
Yes, you did.
And then
Because
I'm going to put something in the
you were the
private
only
chat.
person that gave it a standing ovation.
Yeah.
You were like,
I thought it was excellent. I
and
thought
then
it
you
was
looked at
so
us and you were
good.
like, guys, you
Oh, nobody else is doing this. Okay, that's fine.
I loved it as much as you did, I think, but I'm not standing up.
I'm gonna give you a little bit of private chat right now.
I basically on the first make sure you click the private chat before you do it.
Yes. Oh my god.
On the first night of the Fringe, I arrived. On the day I arrived, I went into town, and I was like, I can't. I'd had some dinner with some friends, had a few drinks, and I was like, I think I've soaked up enough. I'm going to be here for a long time. I think I'm done.
I really had to make sure I was pressing the private chat there.
And I was walking away from where everybody was. And as I was walking away, you know, the stairs up near Patterhouse, down from thing, just as I was walking towards those steps, just Tom and Tim just appeared over the top of it.
Oh, wow.
And I was
what a
like,
wonderful way to see
I just went, yes! And he was like, get in!
You're gonna read the private chat for new listeners. We have a private chat, which is you don't get to be privy to the information that goes on in there, but you do get to be privy to those kinds of reactions. Oh dear, it's so funny. It's so funny.
I'm just writing something back in there that I want to say out loud, but I can't.
Well, that happened after that. Like, this was towards the end of the Fringe that happened.
Okay, David, you need to spill. I will not spill. I do not spill.
No, first rule of private chat is you don't talk about what goes on in the private chat. It's not quack quack, although I did see quack quack. I did see that person very briefly, and that was enough. You know how frustrating it is to be on the end of the private chat. I know, I'm sorry, but you guys know what you're in for at this stage.
Guys, all you need to do is spend 5 or 6 years getting better at comedy, and then you can be...
Yeah.
There's going to be people who get into comedy and they're like, why did you get into comedy? Was it to get on live at the Apollo or like radio? Somebody's like, I just wanted to read the private chat.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be privy to it. Did you throw them any bread? Amazing.
But yeah, what I said there is like, oh yeah, that'd be great. There was a vibe, okay? That is so funny. You spend the first 5 years trying to be a comedian, and then you get a private chat and realize you are a comedian.
I'm giving that a standing ovation. That's a great comment.
Brilliant. Excellent stuff.
Nice.
Right.
I want to hear 2 more of these things.
Yeah, let's go back to this game. Oh,
absolute
shoot,
nonsense.
I removed it. There we go.
Okay.
Okay, we're playing a game where David has recorded himself saying popular catchphrases from the show, and then he's put them in reverse, and I have to try and guess what it is he's saying.
Okay, here's an easy one, Ashley.
Okay, that's kind of musical.
Hi, Zoe OED. Zoe OED's a fucking legend.
I need to.
I also just think the backwards voice sounds great, which is why I love Twin Peaks so much.
I actually think I know what this one is. And only because it sort of sounds like it's the same, almost the same thing.
Well, it's the same noise.
Is it Juicy Pussy?
Juicy Pussy. If I'd left that recording slightly longer, you would have heard my girlfriend in the background going, David, why are you saying that?
It's fair. Totally fair. Your girlfriend is the sane one in that scenario.
Yep. Okay. So you can get it. I think this is the thing is like, I think if you know the frame of reference, and this is why I'm testing
once you kind of get into listening to it as well.
I just did it with random sentences to my girlfriend and she had just no fucking idea. And I'm like, if you've got like a...
it needs to be familiar phrases.
Yeah. Thank you for being the guinea pigs, everybody. Let's see. Ow, ow, ow. Ow, ow, ow.
Quack, quack, quack.
Ow, ow, ow.
It's quack, quack, quack.
Quack, quack, quack.
Okay, I feel like I'm getting into this now. This is excellent.
Good. Okay. Good. Okay. So, oh yeah, you should. Some of them, I think. The other thing I've noticed is if they've got any ooh sounds in, they're much easier than if
Okay.
you're. But this doesn't have that, so we'll see how we get on.
Right.
Alsnamorfn. Alsnamorfn.
Try it again.
Alsnamorfn. Just keep on playing it. Alsnamorfn. I'm also intrigued to see if anyone gets this. Always with the ducks. Did you know that Tarzan scream is a palindrome? What? Oh, the Tarzan scream. Oh. Alsnamorfn. 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 Any guesses in the chat? This is quite a hard one.
Keep playing it.
Alsnamorfn. Alsnamorfn. Can you see the chat?
No.
Don't look at the chat. Okay, good.
No, I haven't
got
looked at the chat. Oh, somebody's
Somebody
got
has
it.
got it.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
fair play to whoever's gotten it.
Baldy is very good at this,
Alsnamorfn.
and also maybe has a recording thing where you can record it and reverse things.
Sure. Give me it again.
Alsnamorfn. Alsnamorfn.
I have
Oh, you're very good at it, Baldy.
absolutely no idea.
No idea. This one's quite a hard one. Informant slut.
No, I was never gonna get that.
It's quite funny. I basically wrote down all the sentences and then went like, this one is gettable, this one is not. And it's just
Sure.
like-
Yeah.
So, again, should get this one. Nabs. Nabs.
I have no idea.
Nabs. I think that was quite difficult. Anyone in the chat? Nabs. Snap. Yeah. Nabs. That was Batman bed.
Oh. Oh my god. No, it's getting really hard now.
I will give you two more.
Give me two more.
Give you two more.
Go again.
I think this is so hard. Flaccid Willy. I find it easier when you say them. You're never going to get that one. That was LED hats.
Oh, God's sake.
Oh, Steve Mooney got it.
Oh my God, fair play.
Okay, last one. You should be able to get this one.
GSAsh. Group sex.
No, I thought about that one, but I didn't. I know I'm banned. Fuck the podcast list.
Yeah.
Also, not always be doxing. Sound a bit like a pirate. That was suck my beard dry.
Damn it. That's one I really should have been able to get.
But yes, private chat also would have been a good one. But yeah. Thank you for helping me. Guinea pig, a stupid idea I have.
Do you know what I remembered as well?
useful.
What it was that this show used to do with it was there was I don't remember it, but it was another kind of comedy panel show thing, and they used to get somebody to listen to something like that, and they had to try and say it.
Yes.
They had to try and say the backwards recording.
Oh, that sounds so
and then
hard.
it would play back their voice, and they had to try and guess what they were saying then, like based off of the slightly wrong saying it the right way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
my
would like
thinking was it would just
play
be
it
funny to have
back.
like trouser trombone shoe as like a funny thing to like when you play it back. That's just like absolute fucking.
But you would
nonsense,
basically
that's kind of
do
the funny
that.
joke. Yeah.
You would basically say that, and then it would play in reverse, and somebody would have to try and say the reverse sound well enough so that when they are then played in reverse, you could guess what the word is.
You've been outed in the chat, by the way, because that was on an episode of Taskmaster.
Was
You've lied to
no,
us.
this was on something else.
Mm-hmm.
It was on a different show. I think it was like a show on Sky at some point.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a comedy show that was on Sky. I don't remember.
That's fair. Yeah, I've got an idea for like a stupid quiz layout. That's
Can I
kind
please
of
be
original.
on it at some point when you're doing it?
A million percent. But I just wanted some like slightly unique rounds in amongst the other shit. And I tried that, and I was like, that might be a thing. And I'm just sort of late night House of Games is very funny. So yeah, that's the thing. But yeah, no, definitely.
I think you should definitely do a quiz, a game show thing.
I inadvertently was looking up to see if there's anything up similar to it, and found Wax Quizzical, which John has been on.
Oh.
And John lived with the person who did the podcast. It's Reese Nicholson's partner. They lived together in Edinburgh. So I went from being like, oh, there's already a podcast. It's not nowhere near the same as what I would do.
Sure.
But
there's something
it's
similar.
Like similar-ish. But
there's always room for more things like that.
No. It was just more like I didn't know if there was. I just trying to find funny comedy quiz podcasts, and Wax Quizzical is amazing. And Bring the Noise, music-based panel show.
This was it. Ricky Wilson, team captains Nicole Scherzinger, Tiny Tempa, and panelists Catherine Ryan and Joel Dommett. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was really fun. I really liked Ricky Wilson on that. He was. That was Ricky Wilson
Kaiser
from
Chiefs guy.
Kaiser Chiefs, yeah. And he was really fun on that.
Oh, good.
And I got really into him for a while.
I remember there was a point where the Kaiser Chiefs were like cheeky and fun, and then they started doing the voice and stuff, and I don't really know.
Yeah. That was the show. Well done, I Am Dingwall. Thank you so much for. I knew there was something in my head living there, and I had a feeling Catherine Ryan was on it.
Nice.
So I feel
Dingwall
validated.
is exceptionally tall. I Am Dingwall and Zoe OED married, and they came to when I did Hot Water, and Dingwall is a fucking tall boy, and they also were both in Sharknado 5.
Very cool.
Because they kickstarted it. They were in a pub in the background.
Very cool. That is very fun.
Great human beings. So I'm not surprised that they do that. Zoe also told me once, she goes like wild swimming, and she told me once, she was like, I tried skinny dipping for the first time. And every time she says she's going swimming now, I'm like, with no clothes on, I assume. So I'm just heckling her constantly. Please welcome my publicist, David Hoare. Oh, fuck off, see, in the chat there. Oh, fuck off. Naked swimmer. That was one time.
Oh, dear.
David looks short, but is in fact 6'3". Interesting fact. 6'1".
6'1".
But yeah, Wax Quizzical was
short.
great because it's one guest, so it'd be like John, but there's two other guests, but they're not against each other. They're all on the same team, and it's his Brains Trust. But the other two are characters that the comedians are playing.
Oh, brilliant!
So on Pierre's one, he's got Phil Wang, but Phil Wang is playing Kim Jong Phil, the leader of Middle Korea, and it's fucking preposterous. And
that's very funny.
And some of them, he'll have like Cal Wilson and one of the guys from Auntie Donna, like in the same episode, being character. He'll have like major famous people just being like the guy Zach from Auntie Donna played Hans Zimmer, and it was just him pretending to be Hans Zimmer. And like when John does it, somebody was just like a tiny person that lived inside a microphone and it's fucking
it's their whole
nonsense.
Character.
It was so fucking stupid.
That's really fun. That is really,
I
really fun.
highly recommend Wax Quizzical, and you can start with John's episode and be like, I like this a lot.
Yeah,
good.
that's really fun. That's very fun. I like this idea. It's really, I don't. I know that you are talking about the fact that you have ADHD, and so you kind of maybe get a lot of things going on in your brain. But I do also think it's a normal enough thing, because I don't have ADHD. Now, I will say I don't have ADHD, but
that
I
you know of.
present I present a lot of neurodiverse symptoms, I guess. I don't have ADHD, but I have OCD and PTSD, which make me relatively neurodiverse anyway.
Sure.
And then
Part of the gang.
yeah, exactly. But there's certain things, certain aspects of those things that seem are very similar to ADHD or
Just
to
laughing at Baldy saying always be diagnosed.
But
yeah,
I also
of course.
I do think it's relatively normal for people to have loads of ideas and to want to follow through on them.
But the
you,
thing is,
you
what
can
I
never,
do
you
is
can never do everything.
No, but you have the idea and start the idea, and you get like 3 hours into it. It's hyper focus. That's the hyper focus, and it's basically like, so like this podcast idea, which I've had, and I know I shouldn't be pursuing at all. I should be doing the other projects. I've just road tested it to you, and I've run a version of it on my girlfriend. This is not doing it. This is a very much
you're
you
actively
hyper focus,
doing
and
it.
you're like,
Yeah.
but you know, this is not. But this is just the back of my head sort of thing where I can do that, but I'm just concentrating on work time, not trying to be like, well, I'll do the podcast idea and then this and then this and this. It's just like, okay, I'm just doing this one thing today whilst I'm doing my work time. And I've just bought I've used stopwatches a lot. I've just bought like a particular like big clock that just you turn to put the time for a countdown timer, just to like, you're doing this for the next 20 minutes. I'm going to put it here just to like make myself do it. But yeah, I know that this is the thing, is like whenever you talk to somebody about ADHD, you'll mention something and they go, well, I do that. And I'm like, I'm sure you do. It's not the fact that you do this one thing. It's the fact that you do like, there's like a whole criteria, which I didn't even know until May. I just thought I was quite hyperactive, and I thought ADHD was like people that didn't concentrate at all. The parameters of what it are quite like a lot smaller.
And also everybody experiences it slightly differently. And also the neurodiversity is now being understood as a spectrum as well. So you can definitely experience low levels of ADHD and autistic traits, but without being quite the level of needing assistance with it or needing to manage it in any way, or it actually impacting your life that much. So there is definitely going to be a lot of people that are like, yeah, but I do that, and it's very demeaning and diminishing, I think. But
well, that's the way I worked it out. Was a very prominent somebody I was working with doing streaming mentioned their ADHD to me, and I did the thing where you start agreeing with them thinking I would stop, and I never stopped agreeing with them.
Sure.
And after like the 10th thing they said, that I was like, oh, I need to look into this. And I mentioned it to somebody else who also turned out had it, and I was like, Zoe says sits in a room surrounded by wood. Hyperfocus, you say? Does ADHD give you any discounts? I'm all about that.
Is the neurodivergent overlap from PTSD, OCD more autistic traits or ADHD? I'm not really sure, to be honest. But I think it might be leaning more towards autistic. But I don't really know. I haven't looked into it enough. I just know that I flag up as neurodiverse a fair bit.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to the point now where I'm like, I've been told that 80% of comedians have OCD, and I'm pretty sure the other 20% have autism. And I'm just like, and you know, there's probably some people that don't.
Yeah.
But, and even it's just a bit, there is just basically like a balance of people who are either like super into something and they do that certain way, or there's these people that are like, blah, 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 and that's like comedy basically.
Yeah.
And also you can't function within other jobs, and therefore Like that
Yeah.
for me, it's like I've pursued comedy more and more, not because I enjoyed it or loved it so much. It's more that I like, I can remove myself from having a boss and having
Yes.
to wake up at 7 a.m. and do all that. It's like, this
Yeah.
suits my lifestyle. But the problem is then to make that lifestyle work, you need to do a bunch of other separate work. And that's where I've really like struggled.
Yeah.
And I'm working towards doing things.
This was actually kind of what I was going to say a few minutes ago, is that like, yeah, when you have a brain that is semi-creative and you're attempting to make a living at that, it's really, really difficult to have all these ideas and to also have the capacity to see how they would work and then not immediately follow through on all of them in a desperate attempt to create a multifaceted career that's going to like make you filthy rich. And because you just cannot, nobody has the brain space or the capital or the time or the energy to follow through on every idea that they have.
No, of course.
But I was actually, I was fortunate enough yesterday morning to get a one-to-one session with somebody in the film industry. And it was just a random thing where it was like the seminar thing that you had to sign up for. And I was the only one who turned up. There was other people signed up, but they didn't turn up because it was free. And it's just that like thing of people not valuing something. But I ended up getting this one-to-one session with somebody that works in the industry. And it was really validating in one way and frustrating in another, because I was talking to him about kind of where I've come from and what my ideas are and what it is I'm trying to achieve. And he was kind of like, you sort of have all of the tools. You seem to have the motivation and the right mindset. You've even identified a niche for yourself. So I told him about this idea that I have for working. I'm trying to work in film and become a sound trainee, but I also have an idea for how I can use those skills in a self-employment capacity. Basically, I'll give you this in the private chat. I don't really want to say it publicly,
That's fine.
but
just to interject from that, this is how I've ended up with lots of things that I've been intending to do, is because I basically have found out that a lot of people who got further in certain aspects, you have revenue streams and you've got different ways of doing things. And when I turned around to my parents and I was like, I think I'm going to stop doing sales jobs and do comedy full time. And they went, how? And I went, give me a minute. And then I spent 2 months like making like a plan of like, these are my these are like my revenue streams and this is how I would make money from all of them. And this is part of the problem where I've ended up with too much on my plate, is because I was trying to do all that at once to prove myself to my parents. But I'm not surprised that you have the kind of capacity to do all these things and stuff.
So I've popped something into the private chat, and that's kind of my idea for using my skills. Because I don't think that anybody's doing that where I am at the moment, not really, and not as a full package. And so he was kind of like, you've identified a niche there that you can actually do, because he was just like, I didn't even realize I could use the skills that I have to do that. You know, and so he was really, really encouraging. It was just like, you seem to have a lot of things figured out. You're just not getting the breaks. And I was just like, I know that.
Amazing. I'd be so intrigued to speak to you about that in like certain capacity, even though, but like, that's awesome. And like, what you need to do is do it the worst way you possibly can at the moment. Like, sorry, do it the best way you can do it now, which is probably going to be the worst one you ever do. And then find out, you need to do it badly in order to work out how to do it well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know.
And that's like the most terrifying thing in the world. But that's like that more to kind of your point of like, you've got the capacity to do it, but then lots of other ideas fly around. You kind of have this. I'm not just naming as you, but like anybody who's doing like creative jobs and stuff, you have to learn how to and when to say no, and it's way more frequently than is comfortable to, or that you want to, and just stuff props up which you're like,
Yeah.
I remember a comedian who has been on live at the Apollo messaged me being like, I need you at my show to close. I need a musical comedian for like the last 10 minutes of my show tonight. Can you do this? And I was like, message back, like, I'm in bed. Because it was like one in the morning, they need me. And I was like, that would be really fucking good and useful. But I can't do it. And it's like, there's just one small example of just things happen where you're like, oh, I can't do that. But what it'll mean is that you're just shoveling aside space and time for the thing you do actually want to do.
Mm-hmm.
This is all like the stuff I've been doing in therapy.
Look at that full fucking circle moment.
Full circle, bitches.
Oh,
but it's like,
look how talented we are at working through topics of conversation in a podcast format.
To quote John Hastings at his comedy special, seamlessly back into the narrative.
Yes.
But it's you create that time and space to do the thing you actually really want to do. I've been that whole minimalism stuff which I was talking about in my show.
Yeah.
I've been doubling down on that twice as much since I got back, and I've re-listened to the audiobook of Essentialism by Greg McKeown and Effortless, which is his follow-up book to it, which is all about like finding the few things in life that are truly important and doing those rather than trying to do lots of little things that would be quite nice and good to do. And that's awesome. Actually, I'm so gunning for you to do it and can see you doing it. And nice.
Yeah.
I really see when I've had ideas where I'm like, oh, but that, and you're like, oh, I can do. Awesome. Please go do it.
We might come back to this and have a wee chat after the show. We are wrapping up a little bit. Do you have anything coming up that you'd like to plug?
Please listen to my unmade podcast that I will never finish. No. If you are in the Bristol area, please come to Chops Comedy. We've got a bunch of secret headliners booked. Next week's headliner has been on Ashley's favorite show, Taskmaster. So that'll be good. Please follow me on Twitch if you've not seen me before, although I feel like everybody has.
David Hoare
doing 10:30 in the morning streams. I've moved it out half an hour later so I can sleep more. Do I have anything else major to work on? Please follow me on there. I'm at David Hoare on Instagram and Facebook, and check out Chops Comedy. If you are in Bristol, I have. If you're in London, I'm doing Sofa So Funny in London on the 28th of September. And if you're up north, I am gigging in November. I'm doing Saddleworth and then Hot Water on the 12th and 13th of October. So I'm getting about a bit more. I know people often ask that.
Very
You're guessing
exciting.
The Chops headliner is Christian Guru Murphy. That's exactly right.
Did you get your Twitter back yet?
No, should we check? You got to check every couple of months.
David got suspended from Twitter.
Your account is suspended. You're not preferred to. For trying to advertise a Twitch stream, apparently too much.
That's so weird that's what they got. That's what they got you
for. I got suspended a month after I got it back when it had been hacked.
Right.
And I don't know if it was something to do with what they did that ended up getting suspended or what have you. But yeah, if you follow Chops Comedy, if you ever see Chops Comedy tweet something that isn't about Chops Comedy, I never tweet my opinions, but if I might reply to something and put DH in it.
Sure.
But no. So,
cool.
Instagram, Reels, TikTok.
Go check him out. He's worth following. He designs all the music for this show. Oh, go on.
I didn't even tell you. I don't know if you saw the video I put up. I was on Channel 4 this week. Did I tell you about how I was on Channel 4?
I've seen this. You were on Channel 4 as a background person. You weren't even an extra. You were just in the background of something.
My friend's wedding, getting hammered.
It's very exciting. It's very, very fun. You know what? I'm going to ruin the thing that I'm about to say by saying it. But we did not talk about the Queen this entire show.
I have been avoiding it like the fucking plague.
I don't
Partly
give a shit.
because no, of course you don't, because you're you, and that comes with the Irishness, the not giving a shit, the certain aspects of knowing history and all
Yeah.
sort of things.
But it is so bizarre what living in
Oh,
this
yeah, yeah,
country right now.
Mental. I'm in it, related to people who have been to Q and Go, and all that sort of shit. And
Bizarre.
so, no, I know. But I've just, if you've come to see my stand up, you will have seen me say the one joke I have, which I've done at the past 4 out of 5 gigs. And at the 5th gig I showed up to this week, which was quite a posh gig, they're specifically told not to do it. And I was like, okay, fine. But why would we mention it? Because it's fucking everywhere else. Let's give people something to think
But she's
about.
getting buried tomorrow. And if you don't give a shit about that, you can come and see me at the stand.
Yeah, and if you
I'll
want to
be
watch
at the
something else whilst the
stand.
funeral's on, I'll be streaming at that time.
Yeah,
But go
I'll
see
be at the
Ashley
stand in Edinburgh, and then I'll be at the stand in Glasgow. I did say this at the beginning of the show, but there's new people in. So if you're in Edinburgh, I'll be at the stand tomorrow. I'll be at the stand in Glasgow on Tuesday. I'll be at Monkey Barrel at the 7 o'clock show on Friday and Saturday. And then I will be at McCool's in Glasgow for a show called Material Girl on Monday the 26th. So that's where you can find me this week. Go and follow John Hastings, go and follow Chris Betts, go and follow me, go and follow David Hoare, and enjoy your life. That's the rest of that's the whole thing. Okay. I'm not even sure if I can set up a raid because I'm silly and have gotten myself booted out of the UTS Twitch account.
one of
But
the
let's
mods
just
do it.
see. Let's just see if I can actually do this. Because if I can, we're going to raid My Gun is Huge.
Can I recommend you raiding a guy called Playing Catch Up?
Yes, okay. So playing.
I will just copy and paste it into your.
Cool. Thank you very much. Let's see if we can do this.
He is a really lovely guy who plays games. He's playing a game at the moment called There's Poop in My Soup. I've got to see that.
Ooh. We need to be edited. Oh, I think I'm an editor though, so I should be able to pull off the raid. Cool. Playing catch up. Okay, we're gonna go raid playing catch up then. Oh my god, it's working. Yes.
Technology.
I didn't do. Okay, here's an old lady talking about sex. Bye.
That's all. Penis into her vagina. That's all. That's all. And that's called sexual intercourse. Some people call it having sex. So the man passes the sperm to the woman, and now his sperm is in her. Maybe you